Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is J.S. Matthews and welcome back to Writing and Role-Playing. Today we're going to be working on another set of Ultimate Dungeon Terrain. I really can't get enough of these. If you don't know what Ultimate Dungeon Terrain is, it's sort of like a little stage that you can set your miniatures on for tabletop role-playing, and I've made quite a few of them. If you want to see some other ones, feel free to check out my other videos, but today we're going to be making a two-sided version. On one side we're going to have a nice little stream, and on the other side we're going to have sort of a muddy path. I didn't get the full video of this, so if you want to see how I did sort of the beginning setup of this, what I did with the XPS foam, those are in the sort of the previous episodes. But what I did was I just took a piece of 2 foot by 2 foot XPS foam from Home Depot, paid $5 for it, brought it back, and I just kind of trim up the edges a little bit to make it look nice. And then to sort of gouge out this area in the middle for the stream, I actually used a heat gun and just kind of melted down the center of the foam, and then covered it in some just sand and dirt. And then I also used a bit of grout around the outside, painted it brown, and then added a little bit of a tan, sort of like the banks of the river there. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good so far. The next step is to glue some flocking on, so I just threw down some tacky glue and just went on flocking. I bought a little bit of flocking from this company, and man, it has gone a long way. I forgot where I got it from. If I can find the link, I will put it in the description of the video. But for now, all I do is just kind of put it on there, mush it around with my finger, and then just pour it on. And I have a piece of wax paper or parchment paper, kind of baking paper, underneath it, and then I can just dump the the flocking off of it and just reuse it on the next batch, and just kind of keep going like this, and that way I can really make a good use of all of my materials. Now, once I got all the flocking on, this is kind of what it looked like. I added a few other little stones in there and some little, some little pieces of foliage in the little stream bed. And this is resin, so I mixed up a bunch of resin, threw in some blue and some green and some brown, just kind of darken it up. And I just use washes, basically Citadel washes, and they work fine. I would probably, if you're going to do this more seriously, I would use inks or something. But I wanted kind of a little bit of an opaqueness to it. You know, it's a stream. It's flowed with a bunch of gunk down it. Now, I did make a little bit too much resin. I did mix up a little bit too much, but overall here, it works out just fine. It does pour over the side just a little bit, but not too much to make too big of a problem. But I would have used less if I were to redo this. And here we have the awesome resin pour that, of course, I poured in a way where my arm was right in the way of the camera instead of flipping my hand around and doing it the right way. But yeah, don't worry, I'll do some more resin pours, and then maybe my hairy arm won't be in the way. But I do like working with resin. It's a lot easier than you think. If you've ever felt like you wanted to work with it, I would definitely suggest it. There I am finally realizing, oh hey, my arm doesn't have to be in front of the camera. Then you can actually see the resin. But yeah, it's pretty easy to work with. Just kind of tease it around once you get it poured in. And you can see it goes up over the banks in some places. Nothing major, but a little bit. Here's how it looked like when it was drying, and man, when you get it in there, it looks so good. You can see right there the edge to the right and the left where it overpoured just a little bit. But honestly, I don't have that high of standards, so I just kind of moved on from there and just decided it looked okay. Next up, I wanted to add some ripples to it, so I grabbed some glossy Mod Podge and I just kind of spread it on there and then blow on it with a kind of a straw, and that'll give you the nice ripple effect. And it works out really well, especially towards the end when you start seeing the sort of the light glinting or reflecting off of it, and a little sort of hint of all these different ripples. It definitely adds a lot to it. And here's how it looked kind of towards the end there as it was drying, and you get sort of the nice little ripples, and then this is how it looks towards the end. I thought it looked awesome. I added in actually some white. I mixed some white paint in the Mod Podge. Some of the I guess sort of like the white water looks pretty good, and some of it looked pretty terrible. If I were to redo it, I would definitely take my time a little more. So that's it for the resin side, that little stream. Pretty easy, pretty quick. Now we're going to jump into the path. What I did was I threw just a bunch of tacky glue down and just covered it with some dirt in my backyard. And then the lighter colored bits of dirt there. That's actually grout, and I just kind of threw that around the edges there. I am going to do a lot of flocking, so I wasn't super worried. And then I just throw down the brown there. And yeah, this is kind of how it looked at the end. I also threw a layer of grout over the top, so I had some dark brown grout left over, and that's kind of what I threw over the top of that dirt. And that's what you're seeing here. It's pretty wet, and I decided to go through and add some hoof prints in there, and then some markings for basically wheels and stuff like that. And this is how it turned out. I thought it looked awesome. I showed my wife, and she was like, "Oh, that looks like a small road," and that actually made me happy, because usually she's like, "What is that?" So thankfully, it didn't just look like a bunch of brown turds or something like that sitting on my desk. Just again, adding the flocking, just throw that tacky glue down, mush around with your finger, and then all I do is add the flocking on there with that baking parchment beneath it, so I can just dump it right off and reuse it. And it takes a little bit of time, but man, does the flocking add a lot. And it really sets apart the different browns that I used, and kind of covers up any mistakes, any areas I didn't get any of the grout on, stuff like that. And all I do is just shake it off, and yeah, that's all I did. Just go through the full thing doing that. And this is how it turned out. I think it looks pretty darn good. I like the different shades of the flocking, and I love that path down the middle. I think the path turned out great. Good different shades of that grout. Some of it very muddy, some of it kind of dry looking. I liked that. So here's kind of an example of how to set this up and how to use it. All I do is just kind of throw some stuff down here. This is a little bit sped up, but it literally, if I have my stuff out, it takes maybe 2 to 3 minutes to set something up at the most. Maybe even less than that if I already have it pre-planned. And this is great for a game. If you need to set up a little encounter, just throw this stuff down. And yeah, got to get some nice shots of it. This one was, I kind of thought of like a haunted windmill. So the players come to the the little stream, and there's the ghosts sort of sitting up on the windmill. If I really want to do something a little more, I would probably maybe make this night and kind of add some little lighting effects, stuff like that. But overall, I really like how that stream turned out. It really looked good. And then the second setup I did with the path side here was an ambush. In my world, I love the Beastmen from the Warhammer series, but I kind of take it to the extreme and make them very rare and just a terrifying thing to experience. They're these massive, strong, bestial creatures that devour humans and slaughter them. And yeah, I really like this setup, sort of the footmen being attacked on all sides and the knights trying to ride in to rescue them. And yeah, I think it turned out really well. I love sort of the... Again, this can be used for so many different things, and it doesn't just have to be a path. I could set up a little inn and a tavern on the side, and there's a lot you can do. What's cool too about these is I can put them next to each other, and I can actually combine them. So you'll see here I put the path next to my castle, and now I have a nice little entrance to my castle, and I could even throw down the river that I made further down and put a bridge across it. There's a lot that I can do, and I run games that aren't fully sandbox. They have a lot of linearity to them, and so it's nice to be able to pre-plan these places and then just be able to set them up. But overall, I think this turned out great. It didn't take too long, and yeah, I was very pleased with it. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Writing and Role-Playing. If you did, leave a like, maybe even subscribe. I got plenty of other videos coming your way. I'm trying to get out about 2 a month. Sometimes I only get about 1 a month, depending on what's going on in real life. But I'll definitely keep the writing advice coming along. I think the next one we're going to look at one of my next books and just kind of talk about it a little bit, and I'll probably read the first chapter or so. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this, definitely check out some of my other videos. If you ever want to support me or my channel, just check out my books on Amazon. I always put the links in the description. And again, I wish you all the best, and good luck with all your writing and role-playing.